back into the action as the Fnatic fans cheer on their team, who's unfortunately probably a little further down the hill than they would prefer to be. Falcons much further out, but if there's one team we can count on to worm their way in, Vicky, it's the Bird.
Take it to the size. Team Falcons looking for their prey. As Hal's on that Valk with the G7 in hand. And we talked about it too, but when you got that Rampart, you don't have to worry too much about the light ammo that you may be lacking, at least in Hal's term.
Yeah, most teams certainly going for that perk. Infinite ammo behind the amp cover is very useful in some of these situations. It's even Zero going for the double tap alternator there. I think particularly on your legends like Valkyrie, again, that tend to be the entry fraggers, that is where the alternator is the most useful. And more players do seem to be adopting that. This is TSM taking Shopify Rebellion. Okay, so they've made their way down the hill after taking out Fire Strays here. They're looking to take this position off TSM, and they say, wag their fingers, send them back to spawn, and we've got, I think, one knocked and one full killed now.
It comes in clutch when Dupe had been able to get access to the Mythic bin, and now Panic has a car in his hand. We'll take the goop all day, as now they're going to be able to get Shopify Rebellion. They go out in 19th. That is not what you want to see.
My God.
We were talking about the struggles at Falcons, now playing up the low ground, looking at S8UL. Guild with the Sheila tries to break down the Newcastle wall over to the other side of the deployable barrier.
Yeah, I mean, they only needed an average day, but they're off that pace at the moment. Cupid Esports will go down. Gen G, the question here is, can they weather the storm? 5 Fears trying to mantle up. That always means you're going to take more damage than normal, and apparently that is enough to scare them off. Good news for Gen G with the reset.
How many of these teams are going to have to forcibly take to the skies? Because this is where we're going to see the majority of these squads drop. With 17 squads left, you have round 4 closing in the next 56 seconds. And none of these teams, by the way, at least in the next zone and where we're going to be seeing, it's really Hot Dog Mafia that's isolated, that could just waltz in once this next zone closes and they reveal that following zone. In this current zone, though, Men of Culture are safe. Reignite, TSM on the cusp, but it's all these squads collapsing on one another by wall.
Oh, Unlimit coming in through one of the nuts here. They got FaZe on top of them. They're going to take down Zane. Fnatic looking for the third party here. Unlimit now on the clock. The high ground, though, you've got to come up that ladder. It's almost a death sentence, unless perhaps you're the Valkyrie.
Ooh, I like these little cheeky angles. Wrap around that Rampart wall as Unlimit looking to reset, slow heals, but it's okay. He's got the overhealth here, so that's all he needs right now. He already popped that one shield cell before looking to their left. They call it out, though. There's a team up on high ground. Do they want to extend on this fight with Hot Dog Mafia? Not really paying attention to this Unlimit versus FaZe fight, but really looking behind them. Now Fnatic are looking at this fight, and if it's not a Rampart wall you see, it's a Newcastle walls as they take to the skies in the Valkyrie ult.
Oh, the Valkyries are coming in. It is Falcons and T-Law. It's a race to hit the ground. Who gets the higher ground? It's actually Falcons. They're looking down on Team Liquid right now. 5 Fears taking a few hits here, and we do see Hal get knocked. Guild down as well. It's the Sheila from Sykes coming out, and that's 1 to Team Liquid.
Team Liquid come out on top with some help of pressure. Hot Dog Mafia with only Skittle cannot clutch it up. Hot Dog Mafia get taken out by Unlimit, who brute forced their way up onto the high ground. They saw the opportunity. They took it when everybody else took to the skies with the Valkyrie ultimate. Yuka, though, gets beaten from a distance. It's going to be the triple take that sends him down. And Limo Ace gets to back him up as they're looking for the res.
Hot Dog Mafia are going to be so unhappy about having that position taken away from them, but everyone is just clustered here on the low ground. Nades are raining in. They're really trying to make something happen, but we've got Rig.
The fact that they had Sheila on Sheila action, TSM with Panic trying to stay alive. He has a car, he has a triple take, but it's not going to be enough. It's up to Jet, and he cannot clutch when they had all the weapons in their arsenal. TSM, Fall, Liquid Alienware, meet them in the spawn, and Alcatia are still alive. They're looking to get this res. None of these squads are in this next zone. This is the bloodbath that we were expecting, but it is also littered with rampart walls everywhere.
Alcatia in a good spot now. They need 50 points in this series to go forward. They know they need a big day, and this could be where they get a brace of those points. But Gen G on the opposite side to them, they've actually got a lot of space above them. However, we know Gen G, one of the only teams not playing Valkyrie. In fact, I think the only team left in this lobby right now that doesn't have access to a skyward dive.
And that's off the respawn. The clutch MVP respawn from Dexter, who stayed alive. No one's looking at Gen G, by the way. Riddle Order, though, desperately trying to fly on the other side of Gen G. This is going to force out a fight. And Gen G aren't looking to their left. They're looking to take this fight instead against Reignite. But this leaves her back open for Riddle Order to take them apart.
The smoke goes out. I think it might have been removed by a grenade there, so not providing the cover that they were hoping that it would. Unlimit, they move out from the platform. They are aggressively trying to defend their space. Good knock. Gen G go down. Now it's Riddle Order they have to worry about next.
And good makeshift cover with the Moby Beacon right here. Lari Man is going to be able to get that next knock. Riddle Order get eliminated. 5 squads left. They have to deviate their attention to the team to the right side that is hugging the wall.
Oh my, but Yulari Man is hugging this mobile respawn beacon like it's his grandma right now. That is all the cover that Unlimit have to work with. They don't have the Bangalore. The only one of those is gone down. Oh, sorry, they do. They are playing the Valkyrie Maggie Bangalore. So they are one of the only teams that can survive on this side of the hill with those smokes.
It's going to come in clutch here when you have little to no cover. They're literally diverting their attention in every direction. VP, who's the next victim? Lou was at least able to get that re-knock here, but it's only up to Yulari Man. The Sheilas, though, having to play around 2 knockdown shields of Moby. In our last 3 squads, VP take the most space looking at Limit, and Rock are not getting involved.
I mean, we talked about how late VP's rotate was, and you're telling me they're a top 2 team in this lobby? They've got the high ground over Rock right now. This is an incredibly played game from VP. But Rock Esports huddling behind their walls. This is going to be one of the longest top 2 fights I think we'll see for quite a while. MT, if he can stun some here with the missile swarm, it could be the go button.
Even more important when you have VP looking to find the dub as Slayers gets the knock. 1 left for Rock, who want to stay up. As 2 squads left, Saucera take it to the skies. It was a Valkyrie ult just to stay alive, but good luck in a 1v3 situation. This is VP for the win to clean up what is left of Rock.
Big finish from Virtus Pro. Rocket all the way out from the pylon. Somehow, they wend their way through the massive teams ahead of them. That, I mean, I am going to love going back and watching that replay from Virtus Pro's point of view from start to finish, because they were, I don't know, what, like 16th, 18th team to have priority in that particular zone, and somehow they have molded it into a win. They have just bent that game to their will. That is fantastic play, and MT is exactly the kind of guy you expect to pull off a miracle like that.
It's so crazy to dissect all the late rotating teams. Gen G being another one, being one of the last teams too to try to enter into that zone, right? I mean, we talk about where they were able to push right in front of Riddle Order, but from a full reset, they had to slow rotate, and it was a lot of the teams that collapsed on one another over by wall where we saw a lot of them fall, because you're so open into the line of sight of the teams that already have height, but they're also fixated in their own personal fights.
So it was 23 points in the end for VP. Unlimit pick up a few there, 14 points, Rock 16. We'll be happy with that, but it's, yeah, very much clustered up the top for this one. Alcadia get 8. That's not too bad. They are on probably behind track, right? Because they need roughly 8 to 10 points per game. It's a tough ask if they want to make top 20, but you know, they made their bet, and now they got to sleep in it.
But it's a dub necessary here for VP, Gino, because right before this, VP we're sitting at 27th in the overall group standings. Now we get to see Lou pop off 7 KP to his name. Great comms from this team to take this fight slow, but also being able to maintain the KP right when they knew that they wanted to take the fight uphill. Then all they had to do was look at Rock, who wanted to inch forward. They didn't want to even show their face when they heard the fighting going down because they were looking to try to reset from the low ground before they, VP specifically, was able to find those 2 first initial knocks.
So 32 points sitting at the top of this lobby after that win. He'll be followed up by Gen G, of course, victors in game 1, whereas Rock have been a little more consistent than that. Team Falcons, however, I think they got all 17 of their points in game 1, if I'm not totally mistaken. So sure, they're sitting in 4th place right now, but a little bit of a loss of momentum there. And other teams sitting behind. As we said, Alcadzia need about 50 points, 8 per team. Sorry, 8 per game. May not actually even get them there, Vicky. That imagine that, pulling out like a 48-point series and still falling short. That would be heartbreaking for Alcadzia.
I mean, that's what happens when we're in the last day of group stages, right? This is where the heat really turns up for a lot of these teams. It's the pressure that is on. And you're right, Gino. Falcons didn't get a single point that game despite being able to obtain the 17 points from the first game alone. So the gap is closing in for the teams that desperately need to perform.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, for Falcons at least, they're going to make it through. They'll be fine as far as getting into that winner's bracket is concerned. I guess for them, it's always just, they're kind of like their own worst critic, right? They're always thinking about, we need to be #1. Some of these other squads just think like, please give me top 20. But for Falcons, you know, if they come anything lower than that top spot, you know, they're going to be flagellating themselves on that.
Yeah, and then you take a look at VP and what Rock was able to do at the very end right there. Rock being able to survive, that's been their goal, right? You're taking a look at Rock participating in these end zones more and more consistently, changing their game plan on the fly. And it's incredible because you see that and you take that away from scrims where they feel very confident, trying to see the back roll as Vax, you know, allows them to just really shine, but then without trying to overextend when they were originally in the wall building. Now moving forward though, but we still have more action on Storm Point Genome. We got more action coming up here on the ALGS Championship. Don't go anywhere. We got game number 3.
How we doing it, boys?
Red Bull is giving wings to the ALGS and the Apex community.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back in the beautiful city of Sapporo here in Japan. It's snowy, but the competition is just heating up. Look at that, being able to run on a sleigh with the horse. It's been beautiful out here. I've been seeing snowmen everywhere. I've been seeing a crazy crowd out here in Sapporo, and it's only going to get better as the tournament goes on, Gino.
Maybe if your Trident gets blown up, we could go for the horse-drawn cart?
Oh, I'm kind of down, actually. We're going to frame one, get on top of that, but you know what? While you guys are here attending, for those of you guys in Sapporo, don't forget Google Play is powering a premium fan experience here in Sapporo for the ALGS Year 5 champs. So make sure you go over to the Google Play booth to check out what they have to offer.
All right, well, we got 2 games in now, Vicky. We've had a Gen G win. We've had a Virtus Pro win. I'm happy. Both of those teams have Apex South players in them. You know, just a little bit of bias. But look, it was a fantastic game from both those teams. Actually, neither of them in God spots early on, right? Like, they really had to work for those victories.
Yeah, it was really chaotic when you had a lot of the teams trying to force their way from the south side of the hill. But then, you know, TSM had the right idea. But then they drop from the high ground. They try to take what they think is going to be an isolated fight over to the side with the cliff hugging their backs, for them to fall in my opinion, uncharacteristic way. I mean, they had all the tools, right? They literally had the Mythic Min, Panic at the car, he slid down, but you know what was a problem? We heard Sheilas everywhere. And Sheilas were breaking rampart walls like it was free, like they were just cutting through paper. Then you had another team looking at you from the back end, and then they ended up losing out on that fight with the repositioning too of the other enemy rampart.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure how Hot Dog Mafia got caught off guard, right? Because if I'm not entirely mistaken, they had a Sheila as well. Let me just double check on that. Alb was on the altar. Yeah, Skittle was playing Rampart, right? So, as we said, their eyes would have been glued to the sky. They knew that a Valk Slam is the only way they're going to get caught off guard. But yeah, I mean, Unlimit pulled it off, and you know when you are the team who has Godspot from, like, Zone 1, it's so frustrating to sit on the death cams, because remember, they are watching Unlimit's POV for the rest of the game, thinking these are KP that we should have had. These are placement points that we should have been getting. And it's just really frustrating for Hot Dog Mafia in that situation when, yeah, I mean, we didn't see the first 5 seconds of the fight. So you just where was the Sheila to just absolutely burn people out of the sky as they were slamming?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. They were looking at 2 different directions too. They heard 2 different teams fighting on each side, and maybe a lack of consistent decision making there. As we take a look at VP, talk about the Hail Marys from this team. Well, VP coming out of that dub in game number 2 after securing what, 9 points or so in that first game. Now set them up for success, sitting in first place in the series thus far, and they need it here too.
We got a big boy.
Oh,
we got a big boy on the screen. Hello, Gibraltar. Bubble. Well, I was about to say Bubble rotates, but they don't have the Trident down here, unfortunately.
No, but they have the Valkyrie, though. And remember, we don't have Newcastle, so it's kind of like, look, if you don't have a Newcastle because it's been banned out, the other option is Gibby. But the reason why you don't see as many teams opting for that is because we've been seeing an influx of these Mad Maggies.
Yes. Yep, that's very true. The other thing to note about that composition, of course, is that just like you get the Rampart wall set up and then you place the amp cover behind it, that's what Gibraltar is for. Dome goes down, it's impenetrable. It gives you that 3 or 4 seconds for the amped cover to set up, and then you're all good from there. Meanwhile, Men of Culture have just gotten a little sneaky pick here onto 5 Fears, but I'll tell you what, Cupid Esports, Rock Esports, and Virtus Pro are on all 3 sides of Jurassic right now.
I mean, I see the Wingman with the Gold Mag as well as the R9, and I know that floating is definitely a Man of Culture himself. Oh my God, floating with the 3 KP, but here comes another team. It is Vaxlon who wants in on the action onto this duo who's just trying to stay alive.
Oh my God, that is one of the most stylish Red Bull first strikes I think we have seen so far. There are not many players right now who are picking up the Wingman. Effect is one of them. He'll sit on the Maggie and use her perk to go R9 Wingman and have full movement speed at any time with the pistols and the SMGs, but apparently floating is now part of that exclusive club.
And managed to stay alive, by the way, and now more teams are moving up. VP have heard the action and want in on the invite. have found themselves in this building. And what's crazy is the commitment for these fights, because the zone's not pulling here, by the way, Rock.
No.
Trying to back away, but it's the fact that we see teams flying in just to participate in this fight, because you have to imagine the teams in the area, right? Like Pylon, where VP's going to exit out of.
I mean, I was wondering if it was a one of the situations where you don't have ring console, so you see a bunch of other teams fly in, and you're like, well, I'll just assume the zone is there. But I think what VP are trying to do is grab this ring console you can see in front of them. They just want to get this info on the way through. But yeah, they might get stuck here for a little while in this fight versus Rock Esports.
And they're going to fight for it. They have confidence right now. They just came out of a dub, and they're looking at the team that they sent down in second place, Rock Esports, that were scattered. They lost out on 2 very early in the fight. As you can see in the feed, TSM also cleaning up some KP themselves. I like this position from Lou, though. I'm feeling like I'm getting a little bit of deja vu, seeing him on the Gibby, wrapping up on the other side of this tree, trying to harass Rock as TSM get the following knock onto Retzi, reignite, get eliminated. TSM feeling themselves after that one.
Nice little pick up for Fnatic there. And go back to Jurassic, where this fight is still ongoing, apparently. Mastiff is out for Lou, of course. Jibby, he wants the shotguns.
Where was MT there? He was separated over to the other side, maybe trying to take a different off angle, but now it's CBC help, playing off the knockdown now as MT has the high ground, he has the advantage, he has the alternator, as well as the blue mag. Sky nades hurtled in his direction. He needs to play this safely before he tries to go in for the reposition. It's a 1v1.
Yep.
Nice patient play.
Oh my, get the res off here. Do they hear it? Do they think he's going to stick
He's doing it too. He's doing it too. They're also trying to get the res reset right now as well. They want to get Lou because he's the Gibby, so he's going to be able to get the fast res. Beautiful shot from MT to get the triple take, and he's got the gold extended energy mag.
All 3 back up now.
Rock don't have this reset. Right here, they lost out on the Valkyrie earlier on. Now they lose out on the Rampart. It was only up to the Bangalore. That is the difference of having a support character on your team with VP having Gibby, or a team like Rock that had the Valkyrie, Rampart, as well as the Bangalore. They don't have the opportunity for those same types of resets. Now VP take to the skies, and it's on to the next one. As they move back, they're chasing after their food as they see the rats. And they've called in the exterminators, but they have to be careful because they scanned another team in the vicinity, and it is Liquid Alienware who saw them fly in, so they know that Liquid has been caught out.
Yeah, Liquid are going to be very confused by this, by the way. I mean, if you if you ever listened into the Zero comms, you will know what he's going to be saying right now. Why on earth is someone still around Pylon? We know where the ring is going. Get a move on, guys. So, VP, they do, in fact, finish off Vaxlon and the rest of Rock Esports. So, sure, it got delayed for them. I believe they may have got the scan in the meantime. So now they can make their way up to the zone, which is pulling, looks like north of Cascade Falls. Now, look, we know they can come in late and still make it work. They did it last game. Is there another dub in their future from Storm Point?
Let's find out with Team Falcons. Not a great game number 2, but still 17 points. Their progress in game number 1. They have the Trident ready to go before backing away here, and it's Waltzy being on that crypto. You highlighted that earlier, how flexible Waltzy is as a player before moving around with the Trident.
Having a look at this next map pool, Vicky, look at this. It goes north. I was about to say, no one's expecting this. I'm not sure if Fnatic and, you know, maybe FaZe or S8 are actually reading this, but certainly no one's sitting in the buildings in Wall. No one's expecting it to pull that far and playing for an easy walk-in from the north side. Any Valkyrie team still in the lobby could have an excellent way to make this next move. And hey, Gen G are doing it, coming up from north of Wall now.
That's why the teams who have the circle information have already posted up on the outskirts of Command Center. Look where Shopify just came from. Stormcaster has that ring console. They've already moved up through Command Center. Fnatic, who lands in Cascade Falls, rotated to prio that ring console too. So they saw where they were going, and now they're in the mouth of Command Center, up on the high ground, already posted up. Katsia, though, Price is just trying to back away. The EMP now over to the south side. While Falcons are within the vicinity, looking to get the survey beacon over by checkpoint. They probably hear this fight going down, and it is Unlimit versus Alcatsia, while Alcatsia is trying to stop Unlimit from rotating into that next zone.
Yeah, we didn't check in with Alcatsia at the start of this game to see if they did get caught off guard. I mean, obviously there was no, I don't think there was any kills in the kill feed. So perhaps they even changed up the way that they were looting those connected POIs. Either way, it may have slowed down their rotation because obviously they do have relative priority to this zone. However, they do not, sorry, they did get a ring console over at North Pad. So they should have known this. It's just been a slow mover here for Alcatia. Now we said they got 16 points in the first 2 games. That's close, but maybe not enough. They really need to push themselves up. Got to redline it. We need 6th gear from you guys if you need to get that 50 points and make the top 20.
It's the fact that S8UL from Mill were able to get ahead of them and hold that choke, right? Like, even with a Trident, I mean, Alcatia, the fact that they land here in this North Outpost, they had the opportunity to do something very similar, but it was about taking those fights that costed them that extra time. Now looking at where that zone is pulling, as a UL, they call that amazingly, but they have to still look to their south and hopefully cover their backs if Alcatia want to commit to that rotate. Then you take a look at teams like Gen G, who have no contention on the northeast side of this zone.
Plenty of loot. We saw a power amp on Asia there. That means those drills are coming out, what is it, like 25% faster, as if this guy wasn't scary enough already? All right, Liquid Alienware. They'll pop the survey beacon. 31 enemies scanned. They have information on half the lobby. In fact, well, we've had actually 12 players eliminated. It's been a fairly bloodthirsty start of the game here. So in fact, it's 2/3 of the lobby that is remaining that they have the information on here. From there, they need to make their way up north past the ski lift to potentially Fire Strays and TSM, who are holding the southern side of Command Center. I think the other way, going through the spiders, through Cascade Falls, probably too deadly. I think there's going to be too many teams sitting in the buildings there who can snipe them out on the way in.
And little to no cover, right? You're playing up the low ground, expecting teams to already have slight height advantage here too. TSM trying to stop Fire Strays on this rotate, and it still comes to question to see how many ultras are in the lobby to try to get more aggressive, so that way you have a backup plan to retreat to. There's also the Evil Harvester that's right next to TSM. They're trying to deny that away from Fire Strays if they desperately need it. And now they're going to be able to get even more information to see who's within the vicinity for the teams that are also rocking crypto.
Yeah, I do wonder if teams like Unlimit, I mean, I'm looking on their mini-map, it doesn't look like they've got this next ring information, but you know, they were probably hoping for it to be a pull down towards Cascade Falls. It is anything but that. It goes on Gen G's head. Your number 2 team in the lobby right now, 5 points behind VP, but with 30 in the bag, they are looking to push that even further. It was, I'm not going to say a bad, but like a below par day for Gen G yesterday, and they are looking to push this and get a good seed going into winner's bracket and see, you know, maybe even a better performance than they had at EWC, which is what, like a 5th?
Yeah, exactly. That's why Gen G has been on everyone's minds. When will it be Gen G's time? Always getting so close to it. Love seeing their support from their fans. They're giving them all the energy, but Panic! What's going on here? Zainu moved up and he said, "What did you say, New Blood? Where?" As Panic gets taken out and Dirty TSM getting taken apart when they were trying to hold the mouth of Command Center. They even had the retreating option of the altar portal, as TSM were one of the teams with the altar, but they lost it on the altar player. They're looking at Shopify Rebellion, who's holding the edge of the zone closer to Command Center, but not even Shopify could get out of this safely, because meeting them on the outskirts of Command Center through those bunker doors is still Fnatic.
My mistake was actually 4th in the mid-season playoffs, but here we go. We're going to have a Falcons listening right now.
He said, I killed him with Bengal.
Okay, make sure we don't get married. We gotta make sure we don't get married. That's all we gotta do right now.
Yeah, I need to get in drone in the spot here.
I have ultic cell. I'm dropping it. Pop ultic cells. Pop ultic cells. We need to have ultimates in the next fight.
Okay.
All right.
Where are they?
You grab it. You grab it. All right. You pop that.
Any more?
Is there anyone behind us?
I don't think so.
I have no idea.
The popper's here.
I'm gonna grab that.
Waiting shot from the choke. I'm coming across to you. I'm not gonna have EMP. I don't have any more ultic cells.
Okay. There's a team playing on our right.
Yeah.
Oh my god. We need to go left. We need to go left. Like play.
Yeah,
they're holding
that guy
choke.
in the corner. I'm
We look
stuck in
at
this
Bengal.
corner. I'm batting. I don't have Bengal.
Batting.
Okay, we just need. You gotta join the EMP for us.
I don't have EMP. I said that.
They're Bengal.
Okay.
They're Bengal.
Yeah, no.
No smoke for 7 seconds.
Save on me. Save on me. Save on me. Save on me.
Yeah,
Save on me.
healing on you.
Take that.
I got 100 fingers. I'm dead.
retarded. Yeah, insanely cursed. Bad fucking luck.
Hal disheveled with a sigh before moving back on his chair. Alcatia take them out in a difficult rotate from the south side of zone.
Yeah, I mean, I think we didn't hear a crash out there because, frankly, there wasn't a lot they could do. Nades raining in. It was basically an unplayable entry and rotation there for the Falcons. Sometimes things just go that way in the BR. 13 squads left. Now we also see Unlimit getting picked off. Most teams have actually had to shuffle up through the north of Cascades. Liquid had to go that way. They were held out by Fnatic, TSM, Shopify Rebellion. Now they're finally getting into it with Fire Strays as both teams ended up going left.
Don't get too comfortable with the Sheilas and Ramparts, by the way, because Rampart will be banned for the next game as we have more Ramparts in this lobby than any other Legends. Fire Strays backing away. Enemy trying to call in the portal, wanting to reset. They don't like their position. They got burned a good amount before Fire Strays find a different position to go into this next zone, because I know TSM is still within the vicinity and so is Liquid Alienware closer to the Prowler Den.
Yeah, somehow after being in such a close position, there's so many teams around them that you would have thought maybe would force them into each other. I guess there's the big rock to the left of the Spiders that is actually providing just enough cover for them to stay right now. It looks like Liquid Alienware is actually moving in towards Fnatic though. Here we go, Live Ace trying to duck around here, but no amount of movement is going to save you.
Oh my god, TSM's a roach here. By the way, Fnatic though, Colonel Garcia, it's up to him. Oh no, the jump, the horror movie. Fnatic can't keep them away as Liquid get thirded. It's finally the green button for Shopify to take advantage of the opportunity.
Oh, but they disappear. A void passage, the one that allowed them to take out Fnatic, is maybe an exit. No, Liquid Alienware go down.
The two rats that are TSM are in two opposite sides of the southern side of this lobby. You had Gent playing like a bird in the trees, and then there's still that one member of TSM coming in from behind Shopify. They hear him, they're looking behind them, but it's just a matter of time before he's the next one to go out.
Albralele desperately trying to set up amped cover in the middle here. They are in the zone, but they've got TSM, Fire Stray, Sorale, and Shopify Rebellion coming for them right now. Shopify Rebellion, only 8 points. They can use the KB here. Coitful, he's on top of them, but they can't win out.
Shopify get eliminated. Fire Strays now. Cersei goes down. He was one shot originally. They're looking for the reset. They gotta build these walls. Gent, who's staying alive in the tree, is looking to clutch. Oh no, one shot. He can't get the KP that TSM needed, but Shopify get the respawn originally before finally getting collapsed on originally there from the original fight.
Well, you know who's been in the building for a very, very long time? They were originally occupying that position, Vicky, is Gen G. They are looking over the entire lobby right now. We've got Virtus Pro a little bit below them. And then FaZe Clan is just finishing off SAUL right now. I think one of the members may have managed to get across the wall. Just a solo rat right now. And then we've got Fire Strays and Sorale playing near each other. Looks like they're in bunkered up positions. Wall-to-wall neighbors down on the south side. Now this is, again, just Gen G's game. We saw them win that game at Cascades yesterday, Vicky, where, Asia was just every single place that you could think of to hide. He had a drill on you. He was using Maggie to its fullest abilities. And as we've said, with the power ramp here, he is going to be throwing those drills out on repeat to make you uncomfortable, to waste your resources, to push you out of good spots.
It's hard to not be a Gen G fan when they're rocking out on a comp like this and making it work with the Mad Maggie, the Crypto, the Bangalore. Charlie, is going to be able to try to hide out from down below here as well as Fire as they're trying to reset. FaZe moving up though. FaZe, the silent but deadly killers in this lobby as they move up. You take a look at their composition, one of the few teams rocking the Watson, and there's too many Cryptos to be a little comfortable here with those fences.
Gen G with a bit of a focus. I believe that's on Virtus Pro, who should still have position inside the wall. Fire Strays, they lose out. Now we've got FaZe Clan looking to take Legacy, who's just trying to dance around any cover that he can find. It was a futile effort in the end. Kraber car set up there for FaZe.
For dropping down, FaZe have been able to obtain 7 KP to their name. Kraber ready to go. As he pointed out, Genome with Zane having that, but it looks like he's trying to swap it out here. Gives him all the ammo. It's going to be a swap up in terms of weapons before Nags tries to climb up, see if he can take a different angle, because a Valkyrie is looking at them.
Yeah, well, no Valkyrie on FaZe's side, importantly, right? They do have the altar, so maybe a Void Passage gets them there. I think Virtus Pro surely are playing for a late game Skyward dive, so Gen G just need to keep on top of everyone below them.
But if Gen G takes too long with this fight, this is just going to allow VP to evac tower on top of their heads for free. A-jump. He finds two. They got to finish this fight because VP is on the prowl. FaZe tries to survive with the Ultra TP, though. They may be able to reset, and now VP have height.
They slam Vicky with the missile swarm. Virtus Pro come in empty. He gets one with that utility, but can they get the rest? I don't think so. Gen G take out Virtus Pro, and now it is two members of FaZe Clan who have just jumped up the evac against the three of Gen G.
Dexter is just him. They stopped the evac push with a Gibby Bubble opportunity in their face, and now it's FaZe down to a duo, but can the Kraber make it sing?
Oh! He doesn't know the He hits the headshot! Dexter's down! All of a sudden, it's a 2 versus 2, the surprise attack!
Can he get it again, though? It's up to him. He's the last one alive. He has to land these shots in this 1v2. Can they get the rest? He tries to go in, but no EMP available for him. It's just about the information to see where are they positioned behind the pillboxes.
Oh my god, Synetic. He's got the one weapon that can make crazy things happen here, but it's a 1 versus 2. He sees the silhouette, but they get the slide on him, and Gen G will win 2 out of 3 games on Storm Point.
Gen G's like, you can hold that. That was kind of nice, but the dub is even nicer. Gen G showing why Lightning Rod is so favored, by the way. We love to see two Northern Zone pulls. Even better when Gen G is looking beyond the horizon, uncontested on top of the hill.
And you know what? You're up there at Lightning Rod. It just feels like you're sliding downhill, doesn't it? It's just easy. It's easier on the legs. It's easier on the M&K for these guys who, of course, no aim assist over here, my friends. That was 2 wins all natural.
Eesh. Show them what you got. Gen G. They know what's at stake here, Genome. They know where they have to sit in the top 20 to feel comfy. And with 2 dubs on Storm Point, the question comes, can they continue on with Olympus when we make that transition?
Yeah, I mean, Gen G, of course, the #1 seed coming into this. We talked a little bit before about how, you know, Falcons had lost some of their points with the reduction of 0 leaving the team. And that has enabled Gen G's draft in basically the whole group stage. They've had whatever they wanted. Of course, we will be moving on to, is it Olympus with BVC? Yes, in the next 3 games. And over there, you'll see them get Oasis, right? So it's another first pick for them. Gen G, 22 points in that game. I mean, we saw them set it up from the longest time, zone pulled directly to them. They were just reeling it in like it was a fishing line, frankly. And FaZe comes out with 16. Virtus Pro again chipping in with 12. And now we look at the series results to see that Gen G have already put up 52 points on a single map.
That's crazy. Like, getting that many points, what it does when you have a sponge team in the group stages. We saw what happened yesterday, right? When Falcons had played their first series. Now seeing this right here, when this is the last day to secure the points that you need in the beginning of today, I believe Gen G was like, what, 26, 27, although everyone was very close together with points.
Yep.
Now they come with an exploding performance, and they elevate themselves to 11th in the overall standings of all teams with that performance alone.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of others we can mention there. Seoul Esports, S8UL, I should say. I think with 17 points already, that means they're basically through. They've done enough already, and now they are trying to push that further and further, go up the rankings and get a good seed going into winner's bracket. Love how S8UL are playing so far in Sapporo.
Hi, man. Oh, these last 3 games have been crazy. I need to hear from the desk right now because we're about to shimmy our way over to Olympus, and the competition's going to get even hotter.
I love it. Thanks, Vicky and Genome. Great job on the cast there. Welcome back to the desk. Rain Day, joined by Snipe Down, Graceful, and Jayhawk to break down what was a scintillating start here from our first matchup of the day. We saw Gen G lead the way with 52 points, gentlemen. That is not just a performance. That's a dominant one. And I'm looking at you, Snipe, but I feel like I have to go to Grace because he's the one in the back in the green room talking about how impressed he is with what Gen G is doing, and also maybe how they're getting a little fortunate, I would say, with some of the plays.
Incredibly fortunate. That first game could have been a 1-2 point game. Instead, they get 21, all because they got saved from that first game specifically. And then, but the most important part when we're looking at it as well is that they're able to close games out. 2 of the games they closed out. The third one, they could have almost even here. As we can see here, Gen G came from the river side, swinging up top after, waiting for this 3P essentially to get that full-on wipe as the other teams were forced to fight. But when you have this opportunity to pinch teams, they're able to close it out. And when you run Maggie specifically with Crypto, so smooth.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things I take away from this Gen G is that to start the tournament, they won the very first match of the tournament, then dropped 7 points the remainder of the 5 games. Now they win the very first game of this round, keep the momentum rolling. They must have learned something from their past to not just play passive or whatever it was, and then winning another game to cement themselves. I mean, they were one of the bottom 10 teams heading into this. They needed massive days. This has to do wonders for their confidence and just wonders for that team in general. And
I love the point you brought up, making adjustments. That was kind of the storyline of day one, coming in with a strong start, then finishing with 30 or 27 points on the day. But another team who we have to highlight here, you get their win in game 2, and they're in the matchup in the final circle for game 3. It's Virtus Pro.
Absolutely. I'm not surprised at all that Virtus Pro has figured it out. MT, I mean, when you look at the guy's resume, he has maybe more top 10s than anybody. Now, he's never been able to get that win, but he is consistently in finals. He's consistently performing. So them struggling a little bit yesterday, they weren't bad, but they weren't necessarily great. It's not surprising that they went back to the drawing board. They said, okay, what have we done wrong? How can we adjust? And now he's getting them every single endgame.
I think the thing, too, about it is he's a little bit of what Phony was a few seasons ago.
Yeah.
Getting kicked away from that Zainu Koifel roster, saying it just didn't really work out with MT. He's got something to prove as well.
Absolutely he does. I mean, coming to this roster, this was one that I don't think a lot of people expected to be that great because of the situation where he was removed from his former team. And Virtus Pro, I mean, they were always like a relevant team, but never truly a contender to win it all. And so I think all 3 of those players are hungry.
Rock Esports, FaZe Clan, Alcadzia line out our top 5 alongside Gen G and Virtus Pro, who we've been mentioning. And right beneath them is Team Falcons alongside Unlimit, S8UL, Fnatic, and Seriale. I want to go back to Falcons, though, Snipe. We led the storylines of today with them. How do you feel they performed thus far? Right after we take a look at this graphic here with just the 2 top performers, MT, Slayer, and Lou on Virtus Pro, and Dexter, Ziki, and Asia for Gen G. Just phenomenal. But compare all 3 of these teams, really, and where do you think Falcons might be lacking versus these teams who are really dominating?
Yeah, I mean, for us, Falcons kind of went into this knowing that they were already going to be qualified going into the next day. So I think for them, I think it's just a consistency thing. It's them trying to find their footing. Maybe Storm Point's not their strong point. I mean, they dominated on it yesterday. Well. Yeah, they dominated on Storm Point yesterday. So now we're going to see what it's like going into Olympus, which is going to be very exciting for them because it's going to be a real first time seeing it out on the main stage. So, like I said, going into this, we have another new map. We had E-District last year. We have Olympus now. So it's going to be very interesting to see for the first time on the main stage who are the best teams on this map, because this could be the deciding factor going into the finals.
Now, there were changes for Olympus, but the reason this is interesting for those maybe coming in having not seen Apex Legends for a long time is because this map was notoriously one that pro players went against. They said, it's not ready. We don't want to play this map. After some of the iterations earlier on this year, we've got a chance to finally see it in action. In fact, we have some specifics of where these teams will be dropping, and I want to lean this conversation out towards Graceful and Jayhawk to kind of talk about, from the perspective of a pro, now approaching this new challenge, how do you feel Olympus is, Grace, I'll start with you, ready for pro play, but also, what are the new challenges like E-District, like Storm Point, which are distinct to each map that Olympus is going to present to them?
I mean, I feel like they've done so much to the map now, because back in the day when it came out, there was not really a lot of, how should I say, like, obstacles in between areas. Like the open areas were just, you were crushed immediately. We see Scout played a lot now, Peter, and also Triple Take, to the degree that if you were even crossing anywhere and you didn't run Jibby, which is why Jibby also became so strong in that specifically, is that you just couldn't cross any open areas. Now, however, with the remake of it, there's so many boxes, so many small nooks and crooks and crannies, small buildings that you can hide behind, and you can actually relocate position to position and make it more, because there's plenty of more areas to play overall in general.
Yeah, I mean, it was an amazing map. It was obviously one of the fan favorites, and you can see some of the updates here, Jayhawk, but getting it pro-ready took some work, and it finally has been accepted here into our ALGS circuit. I think these players are ready. What are you expecting heading into the next three?
I think this is going to be a very chaotic map, obviously, with some of the bans. A lot of the more stabilizing characters, like a Caustic or a Newcastle, they're off the board, and so now, you know, a team like Genji, who's running Mad Maggie, they could be going crazy on Stormpoint. Well, the defensive characters are gone, so they could do even more so. There's a lot more open lines of sight here, so I think the Scout is going to be a very oppressive weapon on this map. And I do also want to point out that the most probably overpowered POI on this map, Summers University. Unfortunately, Men of Culture are duo. They have that POI, so maybe they're set up for greatness, but right next to them is Unlimit at Icarus. I am very worried that Unlimit is going to sprint at them immediately and say, you know what, forget about the Icarus loot. Let's go get the Summers University loot instead. So we could be getting some fireworks really early in these games.
I love this conversation, especially with the fact that Unlimit is one of our hometown teams. We highlighted it was Fnatic and Unlimit. I think both teams have played well. Unlimit and Fnatic in the top 10 right now. Could Olympus be the thing to push them up into greatness? A win in this group would certainly secure winners finals, but not only that, it would do wonders for their confidence heading into tomorrow's elimination bracket day. For those who want to watch all of the action, however, your own options expand when you check out Face It Watch. That's right, multi-view in a whole new level. You get a chance to see every rotation from your favorite teams. Keep track of Fnatic and Unlimit's journey trying to rise to the top of APAC North with the home crowd behind them. Or pay attention to Team Liquid Alienware. How do they bounce back? What's Genji saying? Catch every 1v1, every rotation, and watch the ALGS your way. Check out faceit.com/watch. All right, also, if you want to keep tabs with everything that we're doing on Play Apex, make sure to lock in and connect with all of our socials. We're everywhere now. We've got Play Apex Esports on X, on YouTube, on Instagram, and on TikTok, and twitch.tv/PlayApex for here. All right, let's get some predictions, guys. You know, I've been going for Unlimited. I've liked some of their end games. I feel like they still have a chance here. I like the home crowd vibe. Snipe, who do you think is going to come out on top, King of Olympus, for the first time?
Not Alliance.
Not Alliance. That was a little, you know, mistake.
Yeah, I thought hilarious enough. Still picking. No, I do think Falcons is going to bounce back here. I really do expect them to go up the leaderboards.
Okay.
Honestly, I really want to see Liquid. They're still in that bottom 10 right now of this bracket, and they need to step it up big time. I do want to see them just for the storylines itself. I don't want to see them have to go through the elimination bracket.
Right.
I want to see some pickup here going into these final few rounds. Otherwise, I am going to be nervous for them.
You know, and sometimes the elimination bracket, it does revive you.
Yes,
you know, it does put you in that trial by fire, and you come out stronger. Grace, who do you have for Olympus coming up?
Yeah, I think I'll go with my gut feeling of Falcons for sure.
Falcons,
Because,
okay.
I think that it's not to the point where Stormpoint is kind of the way where a lot of people play the same way. When we saw the macro on the minimap specifically, everybody had the same macro, which is why the same teams ran into each other over and over. I think this one people haven't figured out to the same degree. No way they have. So it's the debut.
Yeah.
So now I think that Falcons, however, I remember competing against Hal on this map when he had Fuel Depot and everything. He knows the macro. I would like to believe better than most teams, and I think he can use that to his advantage.
Always hard to doubt Imperial Hal. Jay, last one for you. Who do you think's got Olympus after 3?
Listen, I agree with Falcons, but I feel like it'd be boring if we all go with Falcons. So they're going to do good, but I brought up Unlimit there. I really do think that that loot advantage for them, having Icarus, if they go after Men of Culture, getting Summers University and Elysium, I mean, that means you have 3 chances at ring consoles, multiple survey beacons, multiple tridents, every gun arsenal, and all the loot you want in the game. If they get that in a chaotic map and they're a team that thrives in chaos, I think Unlimit could drop a big set.
All the resources, all the macro there, maybe just setting them up to do what they do best, which is win those 3v3 fights. All right, we've got our predictions here. What do you think in the chat? The debut of Olympus at the Year 5 ALGS Championship is underway as we kick it to our casters who are ready to bring home some fun and exciting action for the very first time. We've got Spider Tiff and, of course, Dia.
Guys, thank you so much. It's been crazy to think about the fact that we have Olympus here in competitive ALGS. And of course, why not make it live here in Sapporo, right? So let's just rip off the Band-Aid, get into the chaos, Dia, because I don't even know what to expect.
This is some of my favorite stuff in all the video games that I've played ever. It is all about how you solve a problem, a new problem, and for our professional players, that problem is Olympus today. It's the first time that it is being played, not just on the world stage, but certainly within this tournament. They haven't had the chance to play Olympus just yet, outside of the scrims that I know they've been practicing, but as any professional on that stage will tell you, scrims have played out totally differently than what we have seen over the last now 2 days.
Well, that's very like what we were to expect. Coming in, it's so hard to bank what we've seen over the past few weeks, even months in scrims. But as we look at the map rotation, this is kind of the story that we're getting as we move into Olympus. Gen G taking home 2 nice wins, sets them up for perfection. But not only that, we've got Caustic, we've got Newcastle, we have Rampart Band. If scrims are to be told, Bangalore is the next legend that usually goes out.
And I want to really hammer this home here. We're going into Olympus with Newcastle and Rampart both banned. No sorts of mobile cover, which on Olympus is arguably the thing you need most. I love that you bring up Bangalore because the smoke is arguably the most cover you can get out of a legend right now, and even that will likely not last us all 3 games. We do have a lot to focus on, especially as we go to different areas of Olympus that do tend to play out really differently. So as we get our first taste in competitive of these different sections of Olympus, we'll get to experience exactly how that looks when you put the best players in the world on a completely new map.
I know we got a good brief look there at the POI draft and a couple heavy hitting. I love that they highlighted Men of Culture there, but we do have the estimated top 20 points, right? We are all fighting out in the group stage to get that better seeding. 90 points. It's pretty low, Dia, and a lot of teams are still looking to make their mark at that score line. A couple heavy hitters, they were situated about 30-35 points outside that margin, and I'm like, that's a good series. That's a normal series.
Yeah.
So you should, in theory, be able to do it. But when you turn around, you look at the score lines and things, you know, just aren't working for some of our teams here. So turn it around.
So yeah, some of our squads certainly haven't been able to make it click, whatever it may be for them this tournament. Not everybody's going to find that at the right time. Some teams may not find it at all, but that's what we test here when we get the best players in the world. And Tiff, it's time for Olympus.
It's so beautiful. I remember the first time that I dropped into Olympus years ago. It was so colorful. Hydroponics was actually one of my favorite drop spots when it came through. I believe the Falcons have actually locked that one in. It's going to be a great starting point for them. You have a ton of areas to loot. You've got the whole entire underground, and then you can really move out quickly, and it mirrors kind of how they played on Stormpoint from Cenote Cave. Unfortunately, they didn't get Lightning Rod. They had a ton of zones that pulled up to the north, which quite frankly probably was bad for them. But this is where you start. The first time, baby, onto Olympus for Apex Comp. Oh my God, Dia, let's get it.
You can hear the excitement in the Sapporo Dome as our players hit Olympus for that very first time. Gen G, the team that we'll be keeping our eyes on to begin. They dominated Stormpoint. Can they do the same starting from Oasis here?
I mean, look, Oasis is juiced. I gotta say, there's a lot of loot there in the bottom of high caliber. Plus, you do have the ability to grab the nearby trident. You can hit quick rotates. You're already feeling confident after the fights that you've been taking. And plus, you know, we saw moments of brilliance out of them in day number 1 from the groups. We thought, hey, you called them a group stage team. You're like, they are gonna pop off here. Sure, it's slowly tapered, but this is the Gen G we were expecting yesterday, and hopefully they maintain this form.
Absolutely. Like this is the exact style that you need to be playing as Gen G. This is your strength, and especially last game, we really saw that strength play out. The fact that they were able to take such a fantastic building on Stormpoint with no ring console at all was absolutely wild and completely threw that game in their favor. It will be a little bit of a different run for them this time, as our very first Olympus zone is going to be pulling us up towards Rift.
Well, I've got some bad news for you. Fnatic up in Rift don't have a ring console. And that is not what you want. Anytime you have an influx of so many teams trying to carve their path into Rift, you're going to see a lot of congestion, especially over towards the Garden area. Shopify Rebellion, Liquid Alienware, who have Grow Towers, and SAUL TSM, they're already getting into it. I hear the res in the back corner. Sharky's down. Jesco in Legacy. Where do you go from here? Do you try to recover? Do you take that fight onto Jet? Panic's already low.
This is a 2v2. Legacy could do this. White shields, though, doesn't mean that he's got to play that much more carefully. And backing off. Does have Jesco on the high ground with him. Jesco and Legacy. I mean, this duo has been together for longer than some people's competitive Apex careers, and they know when it's time to cut and run.
I was gonna say, well, you know, that's not hard to do. We still got some teams that take a lot of roster changes pretty quickly, but I do think that it's smart for them to run. The issue is you can't go 3 or down a player into Rift. You're already there.
SAUL, TSM, and now Reignite all have the right idea, especially in Rift zones. Playing the wall between Power Grid and Rift, especially as you move up further north, gives you a lot of longevity, can likely get you into a top 10, certainly top 5 maybe situation. But the further north you go, and specifically on the line between Power Grid and Rift itself, the safer you are. I like where Rock are at, and I'm liking where Seriale are at.
These buildings are so critical to have. I prefer kind of the one that reignites it. However, when people do tend to rotate into this, it is the one that they're going to go for first. So Rock's brilliant, but I do think that when I'm looking at this map POV, we're going to wait for that pop to come through. I don't think Bangalore's leaving us.
No, that's entirely possible. I kind of want to count right now, and I also
don't
I'm
count.
not looking at everything else.
We don't do math on broadcast.
Men of Culture walking up on Unlimited. We did talk about that fight perhaps going down. It was Jayhawk that pointed that out on the desk, and Unlimited rocketing towards Icarus right now, so we're likely going to see that clash soon. Outside of that, Fnatic seem pretty solid up in Rift, and FaZe Clan Riddle could be an interesting fight in Power Grid.
The best part is if you have all these teams so quickly rotating to Rift, you make that mental call. You say, hey, they're all coming here. We stay, we cement our spot, and we chow anyone that looks to take it from us because they're confident in that regards. For Men of Culture, they've got nothing to lose. They're a duo. Aveki missed his flight by, what, 5 minutes yesterday? Someone's got a voodoo doll of that kid, and he just wants to play Apex, okay? So he'll be here tomorrow for the bracket stages, and his team is just trying to hold on. Yulari, man, that's a key player here for Unlimit. Takes a significant amount of damage. And they're kind of doing a diversion here, dropping down 3 of these balloons and be like, I'm not sure which one I'm going to take, but distracting Men of Culture will keep them alive, hopefully, because they have been so difficult to fight against.
Honestly, even the fact that Unlimit haven't been able to do this is wild, and SAUL, so unluckily, went through Stabilizer to try and find a respawn and ultimately run into Gen G, who are running at the zone, this time from the western side of the map.
Okay, well, I don't know. Doesn't look too good for Men of Culture. Especially when you're able to take that high ground. You control this and you keep them out here into that. There we go. Nice little knock. My question is, where did Floating go? Was he able to disappear? No, not going to get out. Peace had his name and took it. Men of Culture, your team out.
Yeah, the fact that we now have 2 teams out, and Men of Culture were once again not the first team to fall, and the duo continues to impress, but we'll have to see what they do next game. Gen G were the ones to draw first blood. They hit us with the Red Bull first strike, and now we'll see what they're able to do as their next move does have to be into Power Grid. It can take as long as they like. They've still got about a ring and a half to do it.
Well, if you missed that first strike, let's go ahead and run it back. There is a nice replay of the first team exiting. Olympus, your first time in camp on land, and it's Gen G rolling up on a trident play. Catwall's down, vision impaired, and SAUL gets deleted.
Through the Valk ult as well. Catwall plus Valk ult and Trident beats it all. That was our Red Bull first strike, and a look back at it was wonderful context to have for a Gen G that, as we said, dominated Storm Point, seems to be taking that very same energy onto Olympus. They are very far from everyone else, though, and the real focus does have to be on the teams in Rift, because as much as Olympus has a lot of space around it, a lot of open space, little cover, Power Grid, that's not true of. There's so many spaces to sit in buildings in Power Grid that getting through there for Gen G actually could be quite difficult.
Yeah, but honestly, they've got the Ash pick. No one else is running that, so you pop the ultimate and you just kind of cover a lot of ground quickly. That's kind of how they've been fighting, just really using these off-meta, off-lobby picks and just taking it to the end. It's kind of like the Aurora of old. I'm talking like 3 years ago when we first saw Mad Maggie in comp. Things got wild.
It was, I mean, any team that can run at people and run at them successfully is definitely a team to be afraid of. And group stage is often when we find those squads, but it is very few of them that actually make it into our match point finals. So keep your eyes on those squads for now, and then they'll be really tested during the elimination phase. Five Fears are one of the squads that, as we talked about, have chosen to bunker up in Power Grid. This building, honestly, not fantastic for them. It likely has them leaving around the mid game unless they get very lucky with some fights, because when you're not so far north in Power Grid, you've got too many teams to go through to make it a sure thing.
You're not wrong. I'm looking kind of at the economy that the players have. I saw 5 frags on 1. Aflo has 3. But the difficulty surrounding this is you have Riddle ordered towards your north, but enough about that. You said Rock. You're like, I love this building for them. Sauce is down. It can be difficult to defend, especially when you don't have the Rampart amped covers to throw down. Vax was a moment where he had to defend the team trying to escape just a couple maps prior. What is he going to do here on the Crypto? Get the drone up, get that information. But VP is still waiting to make this happen.
Exelon almost got double swung there, but it is a nice reset from Rock. It's difficult to defend these buildings, but by the same token, it's difficult to push them. Virtus Pro might really want to pick a fight with Rock, but Reignite and Seriale are both right there.
Oh, but Genji elsewhere. You see the EMP go down, but Asia is as well. Dexter and Zicky through the door, the fire, the flames. He grabs a knock on to Johnner and still gets traded out. The chaos, the start they go. Cupid Esports, get out of here, Zicky. We need a reset, but not gonna get it here. Falcons on a Trident play, pull up and send Genji packing.
A little bit of taste of their own medicine for Genji as the Trident roll up really does end them quickly. Cupid, though, getting a big turnaround on there through the Bangalore ult does at least leave Genji with 6 KP as they exit this lobby. No, 5 KP since there was a duo.
A lot of kills. Looking for more, but they'll have to get it in the next match. For now, back to more Trident gameplay as we cruise through Fight Night, which is so lovely to see here on the main stage. And guys, we're gonna keep on moving forward. This is where you see all of those teams, but I think we're getting thrown up, we're getting blown up, and we're just trying to survive, okay?
Falcons are dealing with the same problem that Genji were earlier, where yes, you may have won this skirmish for the western side of zone, and now what do you get for it? You have to walk through Power Grid. That's the unfortunate reality for these squads, but it's great that we look up north here again. Remember TSM who fought SAUL earlier? Well, that fight has resulted in them having the northernmost buildings. Maybe difficult to win a game from here, but placing top 3 and having the chance to win, absolutely tenable from TSM's spot that gets even better.
Oh, this pull, oh my gosh. My heart.
I mean, this is TSM's dream scenario, and it all of a sudden makes that early 50-50 against SAUL so worth it.
Well, if I'm Alcazia and I'm in 5th place overall in the series thus far, I am just ecstatic. For Seriale, of course, they're going to have to guard through the entire lobby at this point with 16 total teams trying to fight into such a small space. 5 Fears and Fnatic, they're going to say, we're hitting the road first.
Fnatic have a difficult spot. They can actually play this while it's difficult for the TSM to unseat them, but Fnatic choose not to play the western side of the wall and instead commit hard into Power Grid. Oh. I don't know if they had a read on whether this building was empty or not, but Valkyrie certainly helped them out there, and they're lucky to have rotated so quickly as to avoid a real crowding of Power Grid that would have denied them that position. Now, Fnatic have placed themselves directly in front of Falcons, and, I mean, there's going to be a fight here in at least the next 40 seconds.
Yeah, so start thinking about what that opening is going to look like for you. Imperial, how they're connecting a couple of those triple takes allows them a moment to walk up. You've got the bang smokes for cover thanks to Guild over there. But the fact that we've gotten this in an EMP to invest, the armor disparity is in favor of Falcons, and Yuka goes down. The stairway fight is the nastiest thing I've seen, but as that goes through, you have to thank Waltzy there for staying healthy as Fnatic fall. Waltzy actually leads the team in kills thus far on this series for the Falcons.
I mean, amazing play out of Waltzy and Hal, and great portal out of Hal. Right off the EMP, it was one Ultra Q to take them directly into the building. They finished the fight so fast that Falcons don't even really get pushed or punished for this in any way, and don't have to worry about the third party coming in from Alcazia, their next door neighbors.
I was curious where that loot was getting slurped off to, and I think Alcazia is getting the altar moving and trying to be like, yeah, we'll take some of that. Thank you so much for doing the work over there. Hot Dog Mafia, not the best start for them here in this series, and that's okay. It's always room for improvement. You've made it over to Rift. Everyone has kind of decided we've left already. So when you've got Fire Strays down there on the low ground, how do you tackle that? I've got to hear the comms.
We need to just put a kill this team under us. I mean, yeah, probably.
Give me an ult Excel. Let me get my TP back. I'll put a new one down, and then
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna jump off and angle them from the wide right. I don't think that they're altar.
No, it's Watson something. They're just tucked, bro.
They
They're
could,
just
yeah,
hard tucked.
they're watching crypto, but I haven't seen their altar. Putting my
They're
TP
getting
here.
naded, they're getting naded,
Putting my TP here, and I'm jumping off
They're getting
wide.
naded. I'm gonna EMP
Watson's
this. I'm
died. Watson
gonna
just
EMP
died.
this. One died.
Wait.
One died.
Not necessary.
They're fighting.
Peek on me, guys. Peek on me.
I'm getting shot across the map. I have to bat. I can't help. Cannot help with batting.
Ping. Can we
Nice
come to you?
kidding.
Can we come to
Got
you?
one.
Can we
Yes.
come to you?
I'm signed down
Just
to you.
waiting to
Can't
wipe
see my
this.
kit.
On my back, bro. On the ledge.
Alright.
You can res
TP
me,
back.
Fiddle.
And... Rezzing.
We cannot let this team reset.
Yeah, I know. We just need to queue down and
They're
wipe
right
them.
here.
We need to just queue down and wipe them,
He's
bro.
playing double knockdown here.
Jump, bro.
Okay.
They're gonna die. They should just die. Don't die on your
On the
back.
right. Just care.
Breaking that.
Gear up.
I'm dead.
Gear up.
Get
Get up.
the
Get
kills.
up. Take a skew. Yeah. Let's keep it.
There's a guy up here.
Rock have the right idea, and fortunately they have a backup plan. But moving on up to the high ground, Shopify Rebellion know exactly where they have gone and are coming up to punish this. FYR Strays have gone down in the meantime, as have Rock during the course of that listening. Shopify are not able to punish on the high ground, but the problem still remains the same problem that Hot Dog Mafia were dealing with just now. How do you get through this rotation with TSM just ahead of you? Hot Dog Mafia, no chance, no choice. They're gonna fall.
Well, as round 4 continues to close, a lot more are going to join them. You see T-Law having difficulty because VP's reaping the south side of this lobby. They're the ones that took down Rock, and they have actually set Liquid Alienware in their sights. Hot Dog Mafia, hopefully Skittle survives, but now we've got a new challenger emerging. It's Unlimit. They said, TSM, you've been the ruler of the North for too long on Olympus. We want some of that. But tucking themselves down on the low ground, we need some critical Sky Nades.
Yeah, Valkulting onto this low ground actually could be the thing that saves Unlimit's game, but they do need enough teams in the area. Currently, you have TSM and Alcadzia both keeping each other honest. TSM can't commit to Unlimit, and that is the very thing that Unlimit want. The unfortunate part of this is that the next ring does mean that Unlimit have very little space to play on the low ground, and TSM are still in a fantastic position.
But they're in the north, and this is great for them. We saw so many teams just fall. Seriali is actually going to be the team that has survived the longest. They've stopped VP in their tracks and FaZe towards the west. 5 Fears in their sights, Nags down, and, well, let's go ahead. Had a little brief there on the melee, and maybe alter Void Passage throughout. Can we survive Zane?
Apex Legends is a horror game. Apex Legends is a horror game. FaZe Clan are gone. 5 years, take them out.
Yeah, that's not what I was expecting to happen, but that's okay. Down to 8 teams left. Someone's got a Kraber. It's going to be Tida from Riddle, and they're just ahead of 5 Fears.
Falcons suffering a loss as well. You do wonder whether Riddle end up pushing that. Alter still available means that these early pushes can just really rip. I say it early. We're basically at the end of the game. We are coming up on the last couple of zones. Riddle still have the chance to deal some serious damage. 9 bullets left in this Kraber for Tida.
Oh, we're going the distance with this. This is going to carry us through the end game because that essentially the wall that is separating the Rift side from the Power Grid side is disgusting to contend with, but a Gibby bubble to open things up. Get into this building. Void Passage to the roof. The hipfire doesn't connect, but we got the double Mozams for a clutch moment. Back on down to hit a moment of retrieval, but it's this goose egg chase, and Waltzy will be found. Move on down. Melstera and Tida trying to unseat the Falcons, and goodbye NA.
Well, Falcons go out. Riddle, they don't win this fight, and unfortunately it is mutually assured destruction for these squads as 5 Fears are going to collect the kills, likely being that last squad, as unlikely as we said it was, left. Nice shot out of Tida. Can't finish the kill though. The Bangalore smoke providing important cover.
It really is, but now we've just got the knockdown shield. Only a few more seconds until we're forced to move into the firing squad of 5 Fears. The nade, the ult, it's denied, and unfortunately we're not getting through this. 5 Fears, the only team to survive from the west, straight into Alcadzia. No kills on the board. No kills on the board. They need these.
And they get aggressive on it too. Alcadzia really want to finish this fight, but remember, TSM are right next door to them. EMP going to be thrown out. And Shopify Rebellion, who are playing from so far away, now have the only spot on this. Never mind, it's 5 Fears.
Oh, we've got kills. We've got points. Let's keep it moving, Shopify. We need a good game out of this. Koifel, Zainu working to perfection alongside the leadership of Zap here.
Everybody wants Shopify Rebellion spot.
What's Limit gonna do here? We gotta get to the high ground. Do we have ult?
They actually should have Valk ult. I don't think they want to use it. But
No, but he's going up. He's setting the information. We're climbing. We're working. Little mountain goats.
I really would not hate Valk ulting rather than trying to fight TSM, but if you get a knock, Shopify Rebellion end up helping with that, and that is huge, opening things up for Unlimit.
Oh my gosh. We're just kind of peeking through. The boy has to grab another panic. I'm panicking.
Great patience from Exuvi as well. Ularamens. Maggie Ball should finish off TSM in here. There has been a small reset. Maggie Drill going to do a lot of damage, though. Subi taking the other side again, and TSM, who have long reigned in the north, will go down. Unlimit reset inside this building. We've got Alcadzia. We've got Shopify Rebellion. And remember, with Alter still in this game, this wall basically doesn't exist to these two squads.
No, it really doesn't, but we're going to pretend it does for now. As we turn to Shopify Rebellion, they're going to likely swing onto Alcadzia. Thank God for the G7 scout for the mid-range, and pricey. I see the Graver. We get it. This is what it looks like to be absolutely juiced on loot. And Unlimit full send onto Alcadzia. They get evicted, and we turn to the last draw.
It has to come down to that very same P2020 Kraber combination that we just saw, because Shopify Rebellion, they have all the space in the world. And in Apex, space means everything. Alcadzia try and get aggressive. It just does not work. Shopify Rebellion, they've got all the space in the world. They've got all the time in the world, and they have our first ever win on Olympus.
Well, Shopify Rebellion, welcome to the group stage. A weight that was massive, sitting on the shoulders, has been lifted. Sometimes we just wait for the first win of the group series that just unlocks everything. The celebration coming through. Zainu's like, yes, we freaking did that. And honestly, that's a stat to tout.
12 kills with the win as well. So this is not a win they casually walked into. I really got to applaud Shopify Rebellion, especially because we took the early listen-in with Hot Dog Mafia as they were attempting to punish a Shopify Rebellion that really had very little options. Once TSM started contributing, though, Shopify Rebellion took that inch and they expanded it into a mile, helping take out Hot Dog Mafia and then slowly, systematically wiping out every other squad left in Rift.
And look at that. 12 KP, 12 placement points, a 24-point game that was much needed. Honestly, solid performance out of Alcadzia Esports and Unlimit there with, I think, is a stellar game, 12 and 14 points. And you look at the rest of the lobby, right? We have 9, 8, 6 Riddle Order Falcons. That could have been a nice game for them as they were looking to work up the western side of things. It's just that pull towards TSM, it's tough, right? Because TSM finds themselves 4th overall with 6 points, but they only got 1 KP there. That's a costly. Anytime the zone comes to you, you've got to find opportunities to get kills, and they just couldn't do it.
I think it's a fantastic spot physically that they were in, but you can see how Shopify Rebellion, who did not have that blessing, had to work through a lot in order to get here, and that came with kills. So when you are in a bit of a safer spot, like you say, taking those extensions, taking up a lot of space, not letting Alcadzia coexist with you as an example, can really be the difference between a Shopify Rebellion-like win and where TSM ultimately sat, which is not bad, still 6 points, but could have been a whole lot better given their position.
They were trying. We constantly saw on the map they were moving, looking for opportunities. It didn't come through. That's okay. 2 more on Olympus to make that happen, but the series results as they stand. Gen G Esports banking off the 2 wins, 57 points. Alcadzia still maining top 5. Shopify Rebellion, after a 24-point game, leaps up the leaderboard. And Unlimit, a lot of us talent team did protect them as a team to watch before this gameplay for ALGS Year 5 champs even started. And yeah, you know Don feeling good. Don feeling good about that. He's like, yeah, buddy, we did it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic feeling for Shopify Rebellion, especially because they were one of the wonky teams yesterday. Onset and Gascon were talking about this at the very end of the day, and it was an important thing to note that when we have an underperformance like this from Shopify Rebellion, the question doesn't become, what do we expect from this team? We're expecting the same thing. It's just about whether they can get there or not. That's the new challenge that they've set for themselves, and it is nice to see them achieving it, especially on Olympus, where so many variables come into play, especially around how teams are going to deal with the new map. We really see the Shopify Rebellion, they've got one standard strategy locked down, and if it didn't work for them yesterday, it is working today.
Plus the volatile map Olympus is, so it's just going to keep on moving, and I can't be more excited. Alcazia there falling a team. Falcons, kind of crazy, guys, but we still have 2 more maps on Olympus. Let's get into it after this break.
Galleria, the official PC partner of the ALGS Year 5 Championship.
Inside the Grimace Dome. New dreams in the dome.
Yeah. Ryukyu. Yeah. 羽羽ばたかせて世界中横断でかいことになってきちまったようだミスター・ビーンじゃなくてマスター・ヨーダえらくよく回ってくれてるトラ絶対遠く聞いてよかったね俺がレンなってお待たせ初めから知って止まらんねいけてるやつらごっちゃ混ぜ立ち慣れましがた街に去った今日は俺たちなら基地で道の猛作パタヤでも忙しその後父さん俺にとってはオズワルドの父さん今打ち上げる花火と関東南風が襲いかかるぜ関東オズワルド住んでるにルランド俺たちのビーフピースタン